In this video, we're going to take a look at creating our own database and adding our own road section. So with the roads selected, we clicked Draw Roads. We have the default road database enabled. We want to head right here to the editor and click. This is the road editor, as you can see. The first thing we want to do is go ahead and create our own database. So we're going to call this one HD for high density roads. We're going to cover a few different road types in this module. So right now I'll just leave it as HD roads, save it locally, and here it is in our local database. We could have saved it to the cloud as well, and it could have been accessible to everyone within our organization. So with our new local database selected, we can either add road sections or remove road sections we don't anticipate to be working with, perhaps highway. So if I right click on highway, I can say remove. I can right click on parkway and say remove. And then we want to add a road section. And here we are looking at section E. We'll give it a new name eventually. But I want to take a look at this layer structure first. You'll notice here we have sidewalk, buffer, drive, buffer, and sidewalk. I can click and move by dragging my mouse those layers up and down. So if I needed a buffer in between my two drive aisles, I could add a new feature, switch it to buffer, and then drag it up until it appears in between my two drive aisles. And then make it wider. I could remove things like the sidewalk on each side. We could add them back if necessary, but perhaps we'd like to add some parking to the side of this road. So let's go ahead and add a feature. We'll switch it to parking, and we notice it actually disappears. And that's because our parking needs to live against a drive aisle. So if I move it up, my parking stalls appear. Now we can adjust stall width and depth. We can adjust the angle. So if I made this 12 degrees this way, or perhaps minus 12, we see them angle in the opposite direction. I could also make them 90 degrees. Now we have some parallel parking on our street here. Maybe make our depth a little bit more, like so. We have a planter width. These are our planters. We have a maximum run of 90 feet. So that's from here to here, but 90 foot. If I wanted to increase that, I could. This will put more parking stalls in between each planter. So if we move that up to 160, like so. Great. We see how the preview sort of updates here. We have a curb radius. If I zero it out, you'll see it just gets to be 90 degrees right there. If I add in a small radius of, let's say 2 feet, a 2 foot radius right there. If we do something aggressive like 10 feet, there we go. We don't want to double row this parking now. We would likely do this if we were working in an industrial typology, or if perhaps this row of parking existed in between these two drive aisles. Let's go ahead and add another feature. Let's switch it to parking, and let's move it all the way up to live on the other side. Let's change it to 90 as well. So we want to make it 18 feet. We want this to be 160 as well. So we have parallel parking on both sides of our street. I'm noticing that the arrows on our roads appear to be going in the wrong direction. So I'm going to go ahead and hit this switch button right here and right here. And now our arrows are moving in the correct direction. Now, if this is a road type we would like to keep, let's go ahead and give it a name here. We'll call it parking road. And I like to use a suffix here of 60. So we see that appears here in the name. And I'm using 60 because that is our road width. When we are in Canvas and changing a road type, as we saw in the previous module, it's going to help us to see the width of the road that we intend to be using or modifying. So great, with all of this locked in, we can click back to database, and with HD road selected, we can say save locally, and we will have this road at our disposal. Let's go ahead and add a road section again. Let's remove the sidewalks. Let's remove these two buffers, and let's go ahead and add a drive aisle back in. They're going in the right way. Let's make our roads a little bit wider here because we're going to make a road type for an industrial configuration. Maybe they are 20 feet wide. This way and this way. We're going to add in a feature, drag it up in between the two, and make it parking. We'll adjust our stall widths to be 16 feet wide, maybe 50 feet deep. We can angle them just a little bit. Here, we'll go -12. And now we will make this double road. Switch that from -12 to 12, like so. We can use this road type in an industrial configuration, perhaps for additional truck parking. Great. So we'll call this one truck parking. 141. Back to the database and save it. We now have it at our disposal. And we'll take a look at this in an industrial configuration in a minute. Another road type you may want to create, especially when working with the industrial configurator, would be a ring road. So we'll remove all of the other road types. We'll leave one drive aisle. We're going to switch it to bus, and we'll increase its width to 30 feet, like so, and call it ring road. If we head back to the database, we may want to adjust the color of our bus lane. So let's go ahead and click right here. And we're going to use the number code B4, B4, B4. Enter. And now our ring road uses the same color as the existing industrial and data center ring road types. Great. We've saved our database. We head back to building. We see HD roads are selected, and we have parking road at our disposal. So let's go ahead and click that. And now as we start to draw with this road, you'll notice we have parallel parking on either side of our road. We press escape, take a closer look right here. Quite nice. We can, oops, we didn't connect it like that. Again, add curves to a road. I want to point this out. If we curve a road that has parking on it, it will disappear. So if we right click and straighten it, our parking reappears.